So first sit with your legs forward. Now there are a couple of seated asanas which you're going to do today. And I'm going to be talking about a little bit of yoga. So what we're going to do now is you can choose to sit either in the Padmasana if you're practicing for quite some time. If you're comfortable, you can do the Padmasana. Padmasana, right foot up and your left foot then up. But if it's not possible, you can do half Padmasana. But if it is too difficult, you can sit in Sukhasana. Sukhasana is the easy posture. Just crisscross, a simple way to sit with your legs bent at the knees. Or some people might prefer the diamond pose or the Vajrasana. This is called a thunderbolt or the diamond pose, where you bend your legs and sit comfortably with your back straight. This is an option. Or one last is the Siddhasana. I'll show you. So you bend your left leg, place your heels first close to the ground and then your right leg out. Comfortably seated with your back straight. So you are free to choose any one of the 5 asanas that I show you now. So you're going to be seated like this for next maybe 15-20 minutes or so. In between, if you feel discomfort, please try to switch between any of this if possible. You can go from Sukhasana to the diamond pose or from Sukhasana to the Siddhasana, whatever works best for you, and you want to sit with your back straight. If sitting 20-25 minutes on the ground is not easy for you, you're very welcome to sit on the chair, or you can also sit with your legs stretched out. If you can't sit with your legs crossed for too long. So that is the different asanas you're going to be practicing. So nobody is going to see how long you're sitting, but just observe how long you can sit in a posture without much disturbance and at ease. And then when your body tells you to change, please change to a different posture, and you can keep changing as you feel the discomfort. I'm going to be sitting in the Siddhasana. So now we are going to see a little bit about and understand about yoga. I know you're all signed up for the yoga class. So when we say yoga, what's the first thing that comes to you? What's your understanding? If any of you want to unmute and answer me, go ahead. Maybe 1 or 2. What's the purpose you're attending this class, or what does yoga mean to you? Anybody?
Namaste, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yoga give me like connection with my body, mind, and soul, and it's become more enlightened my mind and body and also soul. So I think it's very beneficial not only for physical but also for mental and also like our supreme soul. Also we connect with that. Thank you.
Everything that I'm going to talk in next 20 minutes. So thank you, sir. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Body, mind, and thank you.
Vadi, this is Ajay. Yeah, yoga gives me flexibility. Like, I feel rejuvenated, I feel better, I feel flexible. Yeah, that's
awesome.
what yoga means.
Flexible presentation, that's beautiful. Thank you. One more, if anybody wants to say, what does yoga mean to you? Okay.
You can go next, Vadi.
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
I think it's an overall wellness.
Wellness and?
Yes, overall wellness.
Overall wellness.
Mind, awesome. Body, everything, right? It's
beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for sharing your thoughts. If it's an in-person class, it could be more interactive. But with the limitation, we'll go from here. Thank you all for sharing. You're almost there. Yeah, it's the connection between the body, mind, and the soul. And that is what the word yoga, it comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means to unite or bind. So it's the union of your body, mind, and soul. It could also be understood as the union of your individual consciousness to the universal consciousness, which means connecting yourself to the whole cosmos, becoming one with the divine. So that is the basic definition of yoga. So the purpose of yoga, again, as some of you said, it's the overall wellness, the physical, mental wellness. But the bigger purpose, the wholesome view of yoga is to realize yourself. It's a science of self-realization. It's a path of life. It's not just 1 hour session, 1 hour yoga physical workout. It helps you to understand yourself, who you are, and become more conscious of yourself. So that's the main purpose or ultimate purpose, becoming more conscious of who you are and to realize the full potential of ourselves. You're going to see some of the text from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. I'm sure most of you might have heard. He's called the father of modern yoga. He's one of the sages who gave us the Yoga Sutras. What he says about yoga is, he says, Chitta Vriddhi Nirodha Yoga. This is a Sanskrit term, which means stilling the fluctuation of the mind. Because we are thinking about so many things all the time. So what he says about yoga is to stop the fluctuation and to become still and calm without thoughts. That's the ultimate aim. But for that to achieve, he has given us 8 stages or 8 limbs of yoga. I'm sure most of you might have heard when we say Ashtanga Yoga, there are 8 steps. I'll just go over it. The first 2 steps are called Yama and Niyama. These are the Sanskrit terms. I'll try to be very, just indicate the terms. The first 2 stages basically tells us how to be a good human being, what to do and what not to do, the universal ethics and the individual ethics. It's basically not killing, non-violence, not hurting others, not stealing, not lying, being in the divine presence, respecting everybody. So these are basically when you go for a religious class. So this is what most of the religions teach you. So the first 2 steps are very important, but we are not going to talk about that. So I'm sure we are all there. We are all trying to practice that in our life. And it is very important to practice these 2 steps before we step into the 3rd stage or the 3rd limb of Ashtanga Yoga, which is the asanas. So we'll see this in detail today. Asana means the posture, the physical posture. Again, when we talk about sage Patanjali, all what he says about asana is Sthiram Sukham Asanam. 3 words. Sthiram means stable, Sukham means easy, and asana is posture. So any posture where you're seated in a stable and in a comfortable posture, that is called asana. So I'm sure I'm already seeing some of you trying to change positions, right? So you got to be seated comfortably in whatever posture you have taken. So that is called asana. Asana is a wonderful, this is mainly deals with the physical aspect of the body. So what does it do to ourselves? What does asana do is it aligns our body with the cosmos. Simply saying, most of you might have seen a television set 20, 30 years before. It has an antenna, right? So when we keep the television set in a certain way, it does not receive the signal. So then we go and change the antenna and then it receives the signal. The same thing applies to the asanas. We are trying to align ourselves, align our body so that we can receive the grace of the ultimate, the divine grace. So aligning the physical body is one of the main aspects of asanas. So we practice so many physical postures, and when we practice these postures, we get a lot of physical benefits. So that is why we practice, yoga, because there are a lot of people who come with back pain, shoulder pain, and a lot of other pains, and that is when we step into yoga postures. It definitely helps us to get rid of those physical ailments, but that is not just the ultimate purpose of yoga. So we have to move further into the other step. The next wonderful thing about the physical postures is the balance, like what we practice, some of the postures today. Asanas bring about balance to the body and the mind. When the body is not at ease, is not at balance, it disturbs the mind. And when the mind is not, stable, it disturbs the body, because mind and body and soul, everything is interconnected. So by practice of asanas, we are trying to bring in that balance in our life. The lot of physical benefits, every system in the body is benefited when we practice this asanas, physical postures. But how do we start? Like, how do we progress in the asanas? I know some of you are coming for 2 to 3 years attending the session. So we start with simple postures. We try to hold it for 10 count, 10 seconds, and then start going 20, 30. So you want to stay in a posture at least for a minute without much disturbance happening in your breathing. So this is most important part of yoga practice. Any other physical exercise, we don't pay much attention to how we breathe when we do this. But yoga, the main connection is between your body, breath, and mind. So every time we move into the posture, we see the breathing. When we are staying in the pose, we observe our breath, and we come out of the posture again, we become conscious of our breathing. So the progress of our asana should be increase the time of your posture. If you're staying for 20 count and comfortable, go for 30 count. You can go for 40 seconds, then 50. And if you're staying for 1 minute comfortably in the posture without any disturbance in your breathing, so that is a wonderful place for you to see that you are feeling comfortable in that asana. So when we say again, how do we progress more in the physical asanas? It's not that we need to be doing, shoulder stand or headstand. Not mandatory. Even if you do like 8 to 10 asanas every day for your whole body, that is good enough. But paying attention to your breath all the time. So what's next after the asanas? So this is more important. Asana is a small component of the whole yoga. So the wholesome view, when we look at yoga as a whole, this physical posture is a very small step. So the fourth limb of Ashtanga Yoga is the pranayama, or the breathing techniques. This is one of the wonderful signs that has been given to the humankind by the sages and saints who lived 3,000, 4,000 years before. So pranayama is the science of breathing. Prana means the vital life energy, and ayama means expansion, extension, or regulation of your breathing. Why is it so important? Because breath is life. We all know the moment we don't inhale or we don't exhale, we become pastorally, right? So we are alive because we are breathing. So that is the most important aspect of our life. Yoga gives us an opportunity to become more conscious of our breathing. And it has wonderful, wonderful benefits, not just to the physical body, but to the mind and also to the longevity. So practicing breathing techniques helps us to live longer. It improves the longevity. The science has proven that when we take long, deep inhalation, exhalation, and reduce the speed of our breathing rate, the longevity, lifespan expands. The lifespans become longer. And practicing breathing techniques helps us to lead a very healthy physical life, because the breath is connected to every part of the body. So every system in the body is impacted by the way we are breathing. So if we can do it in the right way, it will help us to become more healthy and more stable and more happy. And the mental well-being is the most important aspect of practicing breathing techniques. It helps us to calm the mind. Our breath is connected to our mind, very directly proportional. This you might have seen many times. When you're angry, you breathe in a different way. When you're happy or when you're sad, your breath varies, your breathing is different. So what we are trying to do by practicing breathing techniques is by breathing in a certain right way, we are trying to bring the calmness to our body and mind. So for practicing breathing techniques, we should be able to sit in a seated posture with our back straight. I'm seeing some of you already moving your legs, right? So the whole idea for the practice of asanas is to make us sit comfortably for quite some time, at least to start with 10, 15 or 20 minutes, and then we can always, extend the time. So that is the point of doing the asanas. So once we become a little comfortable, then we start practicing the breathing techniques. The breathing techniques, and then the next step. So what's after pranayama is the fifth one is the control of senses. Pratyahara. So you want to take charge of your 5 senses. And the sixth one is the focus, dharana. You want to focus on one thing instead of the mind always wandering all the time. So we are trying to focus on one thing. And the 7th limb is the meditation or dhyana. So the whole practice of asana and pranayama is to enable us to move further into the meditative state, which is the dhyana. And the last step is called samadhi. The 8th limb of Ashtanga Yoga is samadhi, which means staying in the meditative state for a long time without any disturbance. Nothing affects them, the external factors, nothing can impact their meditative blissful state. So that is the 8th state of Ashtanga Yoga. So we slowly want to progress from the asanas to the pranayama and then taking charge of control of senses, trying to focus on one point, trying to become a little more meditative and enjoy the benefits and be happy and blissful all the time. So this is the whole purpose of yoga. The whole idea of this 10-15 minutes talk is to make sure we understand that yoga is not just the physical aspect, but it's in the wholesome view. It's a very big aspect of our life. We are all here already started. We are all in the 3rd step of the Ashtanga Yoga. So I want you all to take this practice to your next level, so move on to start practicing a little more of your breathing techniques if you have not started already. And then you can enjoy the benefits. And it's just mind-blowing how it will help you to lead a very happy, balanced and healthy life. I'm a big example for that. I've been practicing yoga and pranayama for about 10 years now, and I can't tell you how much difference this has made in my life. So I just thought I'll share this with you. So to encourage you to go a little further in your practice of yoga asanas. So that's the whole point. Thank you for listening to me all this time. I'm sure some of you might have changed your posture. Feel free to relax your legs if you need to. And if you have any questions about this, maybe a couple of questions, if I know I can answer your questions. Any questions with the?
So Vadi, I have one quick question. What is dharana means? Dharana, like after pranayama?
Yeah, dharana is focus of your mind. 4th one is pranayama. 5th is pratyahara, is control of senses. 6th is dharana, which is the focus of your mind. Because we are always thinking about so many things. Dharana is the preparation step for dhyana. Before you move on to meditation, you want to focus on one thing. This focus could be anything. Different schools of yoga helps you or make you do this in different ways. This focus could be on an idol. If you're worshipping an idol, you can look at the idol, or it could be a mantra, a name, Shiva, Rama, any name it could be, or you focus on a certain point, or just a flower, or your breathing. There are a lot of ways you can start bring your focus, but you're trying to focus on just one thing. So eventually from this focusing on one thing, you move on to the meditation states where there's nothing for you to focus, but you still become still without any thoughts. So that is the preparatory step for the meditation dhyana.
Thank you. Thank you.
Vari, I have one question.
Sure, please.